Gear Mondays, the greatest Metal Gear podcast ever.
I don't agree with you.
Releasing on Monday, every Monday.
How did you patch into my radio frequency?
Stinks in here. Bad.
Ladies, gearsmen, babies, and gentlethems. As always, I am your host, Alessio Summerfield. And this week, wait a minute. 1 second.
Whoa.
You're listening to Metal Gear Mondays, the comprehensive and long-running Metal Gear podcast covering all things Metal Gear from top to bottom, left, right, inside, and out in pseudo-chronological order. As always, I am your host, Alessio Summerfield. One day I'm going to get that right.
I like that you shouted out babies in the intro, though. Like, for the babies listening, like, thank you for your patronage.
I got an 18-month-old, all right? She's
That's
still a baby.
right. Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out at what point we stop counting in months.
Yeah.
I think
I
when
feel
she
like
hits 2, right?
2.
That feels good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was like 24 months is the... If
Yeah.
somebody said to me 32 months, I'd be like, please don't
Yeah.
talk to me anymore.
She's 48 months old.
Yeah, it's like, that's a...
Also, I have
adult.
to correct my god-awful dad brain. So last episode, I said my daughter was born on December 23rd, 2023. I fucked that up. Her birthday is
Wow.
12/20.
That's right.
2023.
Your
Too many
daughter
twos.
and my wife, same birthday.
Oh shit! I thought you were gonna say your daughter and my wife are the same person.
It's a real Twilight situation.
I'd be a real
It's
Kojima move to
real
pull,
no
dude.
good. That's so true. It will. I do think that's where this is going.
Yeah,
I think you
married to
were
baby
unfortunately
man.
right about that.
Anyway, we've got a great show for you today, and
It's really good.
Yeah, I'm stoked. And that show was supposed to be last week. That is on us. Apologies. That's why these are kind of weirdly out of order. We mentioned this interview last week for you because this was supposed to air at a separate time.
This is what we've always meant by pseudo chronological order. Like you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, we're in it right now. This is it. But I'm going to really quickly hit the randomizer for us because we are going to tell you which $10 plus patron was cool enough to sponsor this episode.
Wow! Hit
That
that
person
button.
is Johnny Flores Jr.
Johnny Flores Jr.
Yeah,
Pew,
thank
pew, pew.
you, Johnny. Thanks, I've
Johnny.
had the pleasure of going out to dinner with him and his wife.
Wow! What'd you eat?
He was at Comic-Con and we actually met at the same time that I met Warren for the first time.
Oh shit! Shout out Warren.
Where the fuck did we go eat? I really can't remember. I feel like it might have been like a vegetarian place.
Oh,
For some
hell yeah.
reason, I feel like his wife might be vegetarian. I'm probably getting that wrong.
Wow.
I just remember it was good, whatever it was.
We'll hear about it.
I mean, it's New York. I feel like if you're not good, you don't survive.
You don't belong.
Yeah, if you can make it here, kid. Anyway, so anyway, if you want to be cool like Johnny Flores Jr., please consider giving us $10 plus a month. If you do so, you will be able to have eyes on me doing a weird thing with my hands on my eyes right now.
It's pretty weird. You're going to want to see this.
Yeah, and you can also see now we're starting a trend of video interviews, I guess. We hadn't gotten any prior to Deborah Wilson, and now we have our second one.
Whoa.
So you can see the interview. You can see Jeff's beautiful face. Jeff is a good-looking man.
He's a good-looking
I'm not
dude.
trying to be weird
Yeah.
about that. He really is.
Yeah, he's a handsome fella.
But yes, I do have a little typed up intro. So anyway, Jeff Leach, that is our guy. That is who we're interviewing today. He plays a character which I have seen zero about to this point. So this is a little bit of a scoop. Not in a big bad way, but it's something.
It's a scoop.
Jeff plays a character named Pierre Southern, which we found out canonically not a Frenchman.
Why not?
I guess that last name's not very French, so that makes sense, but still a little goofy. But yeah, so anyway, we'll get into it, but this is what I have written up. Here we go. Jeff Leach is an internationally acclaimed actor, television host, and stand-up comedian who you may know from his time presenting for BBC and ITV, but the audience for this show will be far more familiar with his roles as Ghost in Call of Duty, Bragan in Avowed, and in the soon-to-be-released Death Stranding 2. So yeah, that's who we're speaking with. James, thank you for joining me for this episode.
Thank you for having me. It was a blast talking with Jeff.
Yeah, we Liliana, unfortunately, due to a scheduling conflict, couldn't be on. James, thank you for agreeing to be on at short notice.
That's what I do, baby.
Do we still call you Jimmy Stinger, or is it Jimmy Short Notice now?
Yeah, call me Jimmy Short Notice. I like that.
Or Short
like
Notice
that.
Jimmy?
It's like Jimmy Stinger. My Blue Sky handles the Rat King.
Is it really?
Well, it's actually the Rat King was taken, so it's the Rat King. Like I'm a New York rat.
It's the Rat King.
It's the Rat King.
Move it. It's the bat. Oh God. That's fucking awesome. I'm sorry. Is there an award on a little side table behind you?
Oh yeah, there is.
What is that? What'd you win? Did you win the best Rat King award?
I did. No, it's really funny. This is like a stupid like sales award from work.
Oh, hell
but
yeah.
I wish that you could feel it because it's the sharpest, heaviest piece of glass. And they gave it to me like this, and they're like, "Okay, now get on the plane." And they pull this out at TSA, and they were very confused about it.
Oh yeah,
because they're like, you can't really see this fucking point is sharp. Like, not only could you club someone with this, you could probably like shank someone.
Dude, that looks brutal. That's cool.
Yeah,
I just saw it. I can't quite make out if it's a flame or a teardrop. I feel like they're sad for you. They're
I
like,
interpreted it
congratulations.
as a teardrop when it was handed to me.
It's a murder tattoo.
I was like, well, this is something.
Well, congratulations in retrospect.
Thank you. This is many, many more to come.
Nice.
Hopefully.
Do it. Oh
no.
Well, everybody at the $10 level just got to see
everybody saw that
poster fall off James's wall. That's fucking hilarious. Dude, this episode didn't mean for it to, but this episode is very visual. I'm sorry.
Even more reason to sign up for that $10 tier, if you ask me.
And if you can't do that, we totally understand.
Yeah, for sure.
For those that are doing $5, you get our bonus podcast, Patriot Club, where we talk about whatever. And this feels very akin to something that would be on that show. And then last thing, we only have 3 tiers, thank God. $1 tier. You get access to the Discord. We got a lot of cool people in there, many of whom I met on Discord and have been friends with for years now.
Discord's great.
And you do get immediate access to all of our past Patreon content for $1 plus. Everything that was released prior to episode 212 is up there. So you guys get 65 hours of the Patriot Club the moment you hit go on a $1 donation.
How nice for people just discovering the podcast. There's no better feeling than like falling in love with something and then realizing you've got 60 plus hours to fucking get through.
Well, and that's why you got the sales award, dude. You should have been doing the plug for the Patreon. Those award-winning sales chop.
That's right.
I'm sorry. I don't want to downplay the award that you got.
No, you can downplay it. I didn't work that hard for it.
I didn't deserve this.
Yeah, but nobody else got this award. So
fair enough. Yeah.
Well, there's only one.
And we don't, much like in that regard, we don't deserve your listenership. But thank you for providing it. Anyway, super fun episode. Jeff's badass. As you read, he's been in some cool shit. He gives us some scoops on DS2, which drops 2 days? No.
Yeah.
Technically, it drops like the
3?
midnight after this episode.
It's the
like
actual...
the following midnight is the deluxe.
That's
and then the
right.
actual is the 26th.
Yeah.
And for everybody who wants to keep up Games Club style, which is the whole reason why this fucking show exists, it just dropped. This is all brand new news, which might be old by the time you hear this. But apparently, allegedly, DS2 is going to be 75 hours long. Based on estimates, and it's going to be 16 chapters. So let me do some quick maths. I don't know if James, if you want to vamp real quick.
Yeah, I was trying to think about it. Well, one thing I was actually looking at as you're pulling that up was Death Stranding 1 came out in November 2019. This coming out in what month are we in? June. It's like we talk about this in. Does the preview episode come out before this one?
Yeah, it already came
Yeah,
out.
I think we talked a little bit about it in the other episode about like the fear of this becoming like maybe too action blockbuster. I feel like
Oh,
the
yeah.
release timing of it is also interesting.
Oh,
as far as
true.
like a step towards that genre as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
And I
because
definitely,
summer release is definitely what a big
I felt
budget
like,
action movie would
yeah, and I felt like Death Stranding 1 was like very much like a fall winter game. Like you're gonna sink into it. And so I
pre-award
wonder,
season.
yeah, exactly. I wonder tonally how the release date will impact this game.
Yeah. So if the game is truly 16 chapters, we're doing a first impressions episode that will actually drop the day of release, so you guys can listen to that. If you're even gonna want to, you might just be playing Death Stranding 2, but hopefully you listen to us.
Yeah, listen and play. Why not?
But every week what a great game for that. You're gonna be walking forever, so just put on a podcast.
Yeah, have your buds with you while you walk.
Yeah, both literally and figuratively. But anyway, we're doing weekly episodes because we are fucking racing to get to MGS Delta, which goddamn you, Konami, for releasing your fucking game like 8 weeks after Kojima's game.
How dare they?
But anyway, so First Impressions is release day. Part 1 is going to be the following Monday, and then every single week we're going to be putting out an episode. There are 8 episodes, so if you're listening at home, we'll be covering 2 chapters an episode. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't even know if you can tell what that's going to look like. But allegedly, from the trophy list that dropped, there's 16 trophies dedicated to chapters. One's probably an epilogue. So in my opinion, once the trophy pops for chapter 2, that will be where we are stopping each episode. So yeah, excited to check it out. I hope everybody enjoys the game. Keep an eye out for Pierre Southern. James, do you have anything you want to plug before we migrate into the episode?
No, get ready for some sweet Pierre Southern action.
Hell yeah. I thought you were going to say get wrecked.
Get wrecked.
Get wrecked by the Rat King. But yeah, you can find me somewhere, I guess, at Alessio Made That on Instagram. That's the only one I really care to plug. I'm going to try to start putting some stuff out a little bit more regularly. I'm not going to kill myself, and it will be fun and creative, but potentially more stuff. Things are going well. I am very deep in the process of developing a television show that is starting to feel like an it or a when it gets picked up and not if anymore. Been having I had like 3 calls today about it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So hopefully I don't have all my time absorbed by something totally different than this podcast, but we shall see. I will continue to do this goddamn podcast while that's going on. We don't come back and then leave again. No.
We'll find a way. You don't
get to do that.
Yeah. It's like you're talking to my dad.
Yeah. No.
You don't get to leave again.
It's like, hey son, I'm back, and then you see him inching for the door. You're like, what?
What do you think you're doing?
It's fucking Misery, his legs. If you haven't seen it, you should go see that movie, everybody.
Yeah, true,
Misery is sick. Anyway, yes, so this is our interview with Jeff Leach. He's super sick, and we will meet y'all on the other side, I guess. So this time next week we'll be talking about Death Stranding. This time Thursday we'll be talking about Death Stranding. So time to become Norman Reedus again.
Buckle up.
Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thanks very much for having me, chaps.
Yeah, of course. Before we get too far into the rest of our questions and all that jazz, I just have to say, your IMDb credit for this game is shrouded in so much mystery. I just got to come out. Is it a bit that you just added this to your IMDb? Or is this a character you can straight up talk about?
No, I'm definitely playing a character in the game. I love the idea of that. And he is called Pierre Southern. But yeah, I love that you thought this might be my attempt to just troll the entire Kojima Productions fan base. And, no, I'm definitely in Death Stranding 2, and I'm definitely playing a character called Pierre Southern, who's a quest giver.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That's
excellent.
awesome. Is his rival Francois Northern by any chance? Or I guess it.
No, but it should be. I mean, maybe it's interesting when you're recording a game like this. When you're recording your parts for any kind of VO, skew project as an actor, you often don't work with other actors in the room. Which is the case in this game as well, unless potentially you're shooting mocap stuff or PCAP stuff, and. I also don't really get to see what the grander scheme of what this character, his interactions with Norman Reedus' character might mean for the rest of the universe. So, as much as I'm sure you would love some incredible spoilers, give us some knowledge about the game. What's different in this one? We really don't get told it. We get given our script and we get put in the booth and I got to have an awful lot of fun with this character. I hope that the versions of some of the lines that we did in the booth get put into the game. I mean, the voice director that I was working with was incredible. It was laughing at points. My character is he is a character for sure.
With a name like that, he'd have to be. Yeah,
I mean, but he's there's these beautiful moments. He's antithetical to me in some respects, quite very soft and gentle to start with, and he gets a bit more confident, but he's nerdy and he's very geeky, and he's he ends up loving the player, the protagonist, and their interactions, and becomes almost like a bit of a buddy, but almost like a bit of a friend who's like, oh, I'm so grateful you're my friend. It's very very sweet and soft. So I gave him a little bit of humor in the delivery, and also some of the lines were just outright just had the whole booth in stitches, and they were like, oh, we got to get that in. That's got to be in there. So we shall see. I don't know what's going to end up in the final game because until I play it, who knows?
For sure. Did you play the first one?
You know what? No, I didn't. I digested a huge amount of online content for it. I at the time was because when was the release of the last one? Death Stranding 1.
It was
2019.
6 months.
Right? Yeah, I thought so. So it came out when I was doing another major franchise, and I was kind of wrapped up in playing that game. So I was streaming it as well, and that sort of took 8 to 14 hours a day. And as you know, when in the streaming world, when you're locked into one game, you gotta play that game all day, every day. But obviously, I know everything about every release in the gaming industry that's going on because, I'm constantly digesting it from the various accounts that I follow or the YouTube videos I'm watching, or if I'm tuning into, Video Game Donkey always does a little review for me as well. So I enjoy those. And I'm a huge fan of Hideo Kojima and his work. I mean, he's one of the godfathers of gaming for me, certainly.
No doubt.
And if you're a fan of the Metal Gear Solid series, and I've actually just repurchased all of the games for Nintendo Switch so I can play them when I'm flying to and from my comedy shows around the country or around the globe, and I mean, I just think he's an unbelievably inventive creator, but also even his approach to development of games it broke the mold in a multitude of ways with his earlier releases, earlier titles, and even with Death Stranding 1, it attempted and succeeded in doing so many different and new things, which was definitely something I was able to digest by watching, quite a lot of, and I also watched a bunch of other people that I know stream the game as well,
sure.
play the game.
The reason why I ask is I have to ask. I'm assuming Sam has to deliver something for your character. Do you know what the items are? Is he delivering a bushel of baguettes for Pierre Southern? Like, what the hell does that look like? Again,
should be. And he should have to ride a little bicycle whilst he does it, maybe with a string of onions around his and a little beret on top of his suit. But no, I get, like, I also being, mindful of, contracts that have been signed.
I understand.
Too much weight.
Yeah.
My character definitely facilitates. Yes, of course. Look, Sam's character is always going to be. He's a delivery boy. That's his whole reason for being, and so much more. But also, I know that my character certainly assists him in upgrading his experience of the game.
Oh, nice.
So when that comes to his ability to do his job, the way he does it, the way he travels, and what protections he is provided whilst he carries out those things.
Nice.
So I do get the impression that having the content I've seen of the first game, that there is an expansion, as there should be with a sequel, in terms of the scope of how Sam does his job, what threats he might encounter along the way, and how he deals with those. But obviously, again, being respectful of the contract assigned in the NDA, I can't tell you anything specific.
So Sam gets a bicycle with a basket from you. That's what I'm
Listen, if I had my way. And actually, Hideo Kojima, as much as his art is so is almost like neo-gothic, dark, twisted, dystopian science fiction, certainly within this franchise. He's also got a wicked sense of humor. I mean, if you follow him on Instagram, which I do, and digest his content, he's a funny dude, man. He's and I think that's why I hope the lines got through that we recorded, or because some of them were improvised bits and stuff like that as well. And I always like to try and do that in the booth to see, hey, look, can we get this past the people who made the decision? But it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up having, rolling out a little bicycle. Although my character is, as I am, British. He has a British accent. He's a well-spoken Brit. He's not a French character. And I also think that if he was going to ride a bicycle out of there, it would have to be a penny farthing, rather than a little French bicycle with a ding ding bell on it.
Yeah, of course. Did when you went there to record your lines, did you have to do the full like scanning motion that they do for folks?
No, and unfortunately, that's it's a blessing and a curse to have to do that. It can be tiresome and laborious, and it's quite boring, being scanned and doing all that. My character is a quest giver. I know when you navigate the world, some people that you encounter are effectively projected in holographic form in front of you. So you don't necessarily have to see the specifics of that body. So they didn't get to. The players won't get to digest I think, and my mother agrees, a gorgeous 6'4" form in all its perfect, rippling abs, of course,
Hey, I have to agree, and I think it probably comes from you having to host for like ITV and BBC back in the day. But you are a very well put together, very like groomed. Like I looked up your picture, and I was like, "Shit, Jeff's a good looking dude."
You're very sweet, man. You're very sweet. No, I mean, I shifted some weight recently. I've been working out for a film I'm going to be shooting at the end of the year, so I wish they had scammed me, because it would be nice to document. Yeah. Probably one of the best positions my body's been in over the entirety of my 41 years on this planet. But alas, no, you will see but a rudimentary holographic form of myself. So
I love that. I've got to know, given that you've got such an appreciation for Kojima's catalog, is there a game or a moment from one of his games that really just strikes you as like really blew your mind for the first time?
Hiding yourself in a box, baby.
Oh yeah.
It's for me. I mean, like I'm meme culture. I might be 41, but I am at heart still that childish little boy who kicked off playing. Well, I mean, originally like the old school switch on, switch off little Nintendo. Those little flat Nintendo one game pieces. Yeah. They were the earliest consoles, effectively, and it was just on off. It'd be Donkey Kong. Half of the level would actually be permanently imprinted on the screen in foil, and then you would have a little pixelated character, on Donkey Kong Tales. So I came from that era, but yeah, I love silly meme culture. I'm a big part of that. So, the alert being waylaid by hiding inside of a cardboard box for me is peak. It's peak Kojima trolling. I think it's beautiful to create a stealth game like that, and someone to go, "Oh, I haven't noticed that box has just moved 12 feet in this direction on of its own accord." That to me is hilarious. So yes, I'm a little two-dimensional in that respect. I realize that's not perhaps the depth of answer you might be hoping for, but
that's the exact type of answer I wanted, honestly.
You know what I mean? I think across all the games I've done, it's not, and TV shows as well. And I'm talking just now as a voice actor, not as an on-screen actor.
Yeah.
But it's. I'll give you an example. I just did. I've done a couple of seasons of Ishura on Hulu. And in one of the last recordings that I did for my character Yelky the Swifting, I did all of Yelky's lines, and at the end they were like, "We wanted you to do some ancillary characters, you know." So I had a mercenary number 2, a guardsman number 3, you know, a villager screaming, you know, blah blah blah. And for one of them, we had to do some deaths, you know, so I had to vocalize some deaths of some of these characters. Nice. You know, everyone dies in that show. It's pretty intense. A lot of murder, and it's pretty dark from the off as well. At this point, the director and I were like, well, we've got to get this double hit. You know, it has to be you get hit and then you kind of implode. And I decided to do a 2-beat based on the Hawk Tour Girl. So my death was designed to sound like Hawk Tour, but it was a death. So we modified it. And when it came out in the latest season, I heard my death. And that makes me laugh. I know no one else will notice it, really. They'll just be like, the guy just got killed. He got hit by an arrow and then sort of burst into flames or whatever. But for me, I know I'm sitting there in the booth going, and it's little things like that made me laugh. Those little Easter eggs, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's cool that you get to, you know, kind of bring your side of things into that and kind of your own approach to that. What is the balance, you know, whether you're recording for a TV show or a video game like Death Stranding, like how do you balance like improvising and bringing your own flair of comedy to it versus like having to stick to what's been handed to you?
I think it always works like this certainly in the voice acting side of things, is that you get, and actually on screen as well quite often, let's get one in the can of the line as is, right? Let's get one as they want it or what's been outlined by the studio, etc. And then they go, hey, if you want to play a little, or I'll quite often say to the director, I'll go, do you mind if I just like take one more take of that or do one more version because I've got a little something, and they'll go like, oh yeah, absolutely. And often those end up being some of the funniest lines or the funniest moments in a show or the most interesting, depending on what you do. For instance, when American and Japanese artists are writing scripts, for instance, for a character who has a British accent, they may write something that fits to that to their vocabulary, their vernacular. But then when I get in the booth, being a British man, I know, well, he would a Brit would never say it this way. So can I play around with it a little bit more like that? And I do that often when I audition as well for stuff, especially if it's on camera, you know, or taped auditions or in person. I will respect the script, but I will allow myself just a minuscule amount of freedom to embellish or add a little line or put a little personality in it, because quite frequently, and this is, I guess, advice for budding actors, both on camera and in the booth, you know, casting directors will see and hear 1,000 versions of the same thing. If you can give them something that shows a little unique personality, a little unique character, something that they're never going to forget, then you stick out. You stay in their mind, and sometimes that's a blessing, sometimes that's a curse. They might be like, "Oh, that was a bit too much," which is fine. But it's just understanding that balance. So, like you say, it is a balance. Be respectful to the script. Someone's written that person is an artist, and they're good at their job, which is why they're hired to do that job.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
If you got a little embellishment, throw it in. Because the worst they can say is, that's not going to work, man. Can you do that one more time exactly as is? And you go, okay, cool. Which is why we normally get the safety in the can first, and then...
Right.
And then I'll throw in my Jeff Leach-isms, you know?
I
can't believe I just described myself in the third person. That made me feel sick. A little bit of bile just rose up in my throat there as I did that. I was like, Jeff-isms, that's awful.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
It's interesting because, like, obviously, if you're sort of main or supporting cast or whatever, I feel like the sort of expectations.
I'm a supporting cast member in this. Yeah, for sure.
But I just mean in general, it's like I think the expectation is like slightly different, especially depending on the project. Blah 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 blah. But like in the booth, given sort of your character's role, like in the grander thing for Death Stranding 2, like I guess. Did you have more room to play and kind of go a little off book, considering sort of the? Yeah,
because I think, you know, the amount of time that you're in the booth as a more supporting character. Look, if you're doing the PCAP, if you're doing the mocap, if you're in the suit with the 3 other core cast members, potentially, you know, normally main cast, 4 to 6 people tops, you know, and that's quite a few actually. If you're doing your scenes with them, you don't want to throw off other actors. You don't want to leave anyone confused about where we're going next in the script, or did I mess up my line? No, you didn't. I just added a little something there, a little flair.
Right.
And again, there's more people you have to be cognizant of respecting in that space. Whereas when it's me and a director and a producer and an engineer, and you're just playing around, they're bored. They've been sat in that booth probably for 8 hours that day. If I'm the last record of the day, they may well have sat there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours trudging through it. So again, it's like, I think it's good business acumen as well to, even at that stage, at that level, leave the room with that director, that producer, and that engineer all going, hey, that was a fun record. I enjoyed that guy. He's nice. Because they want you back in the booth then. Yeah. I always try and make it personal. I'm very active, for instance, as a voice actor in the booth. Some voice actors sit down. There's always a chair in every voiceover booth, a tall chair normally, a standing chair, whatever. 9 times out of 10, they provide a chair. You've got a little bottle of water, your little stand, your screen in front of you with your lines rolling through, and your microphone set up around you. Depending, I think I had a head mic on for this one to make it sound a little bit more like I was in space.
Oh, nice.
But you. I just don't understand. Maybe because I come from on stage and on screen into the world of voiceover, the concept of sitting down and delivering a line. You might be doing an impassioned line. I don't believe I'm doing it in the moment. So I have to stand 100%. Up. I have to gesture, and then I also have to make sure I don't slap the microphone while I'm doing that, or making too much background noise. The last thing they want is the rustle of your shirt, or a bang where you knocked into the stand that was holding your script or whatever. But as long as you are, have some rudimentary level of spatial awareness, I think it adds something to the character to move, to gesture, to put yourself in the position of your character in the real moment. Yeah. So that if you're listening, when I listen as a player to any video game I play, I really want to believe it. I want to believe those characters. It either fully immerses me, or if they've done a poor job, it fully removes me from the storyline. And I'm developing a video game myself at the moment. I'm co-creating a little pixel art JRPG with a dear friend of mine. And working on that is a massive lesson. But I'm going to make sure when we get to the voice stage, there will be no chair. I want all my actors up. I want them physically involved. I want them to really inhabit the characters, And
I feel like I can hear it too. Like maybe it's just me because like maybe it's a placebo effect or whatever. But I feel like I can hear like body language. I can hear your face. Like I can hear it in your voice. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like sitting would like fuck with your voice delivery.
I think you're onto something with like the, especially coming from like stage acting, being on stage, that type of thing. Like I've directed some stage greetings in the past, and even in those, it's like, no, I want you on your feet, even though if you're reading from a script, like being on your feet, you get a different level of energy with it. And that's so true in the booth too, where like you might not see the physicality, but like subconsciously you're getting it in. I completely agree with you. Get those chairs out of there.
And it was like you're only in there for maybe an hour or two. You can stand up for a little while. You're right. Take a break. You get a tea break. Go on. Go sit down there.
Bring in the walker. Jeff, tell us more about
there
your
won't
game.
be any voice actors anyway. Soon enough, we'll all be replaced by AI anyway. So.
Jeff, for real though, tell us more about your game. I want to plug it for our audience.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, we're under the title ontogenesis, which is the process of full development, from cocoon to butterfly, effectively. So that process of discovering your own identity. It really will be a game. I'm pouring a lot of my own personal life and story into it, whilst it's a very high fantasy science fiction concept, that really deals with There's other races. There's from other planets. I mean, there will be a very mixed cast as well. So there will be different races represented, certainly within our protagonists and our main characters. You have but it's very much geared around a story of chosen identity versus expected identity. For me, that really manifests in I spent the majority of my life, and I don't want to get too serious for your listeners here. I apologize. If anyone's looking for a little upbeat, fun thing. But, I suffer with a clinical depression for almost 30 years. I have navigated addiction. I'm 6 years sober. Oh, thank you. Yeah, well, it was congratulations, because it definitely was an upgrade in life experience. But I went through life pretty certain I was just, when I was a kid, I was an emo kid. I'm emo. I'm just like a bit, that's who I am. I'm emotional. I'm a bit like, I'm depressed. I'm moody, whatever. That was kind of how it was painted. Therapy was not even something considered, especially I had two very working class parents who stiff upper lip and all that, British Cockney dad and a mother who grew up under Ceausescu's communist dictatorship in Bucharest in Romania. So these people went through hardships that I haven't endured. And, you just get on, keep your head down and get on with it. You know what I mean? Therapy, that kind of treatment was not really even on the radar. Now, when I matured and grew up, I realized, I need that. I need therapy. I need to do some spiritual work here as well. I need to navigate my addiction. I need to find sobriety. I need to do all those things. But I now live completely free of depression. I'm not suggesting I don't have hard days. I'm not suggesting there aren't days where things can happen that upset me or frustrate me or hurt me. But the difference is now is I have like perfected emotional regulation. So I realize that those things are not happening to me. They're just happening. It's just life. This is lifing. You either take it personally and you build that into how you view every aspect of your existence. Oh, why me? Why me? The victimhood, of it all. And instead now I just go, all right, well, something bad happened. I go, well, that's sad. And that makes me feel bad. I'll process that. I'll meditate on that a little bit. I'll go and talk to people that I love about it. I'll talk to my partner, and I'll offload to her, or I'll call a friend up, or I'll speak to my therapist who I chat to every week. But within 24 hours, pretty much, I'm like, okay, I've processed it. It's happened. I can hold on to that and make that my identity and be miserable. And now let that negative energy build and build and build around me. I can move on and find the next good thing. I can move forward and await the next good project. Now, for our protagonist, Gil, that is a major story for his identity, is that identity, except in a much more science fiction and very heavily. It's heavy, man. This guy is. The start of it. Do you remember the start of the Last of Us? The first 10 minutes of that game. I don't know about you, but I was in tears. Was it Sophie, the daughter, when she? It's Sarah. Was it? Oh man, that first Now our character is going to go through some things. From the beginning of the game right until the end. But I think the measure of a man, and he is a young man becoming, and maturing through the process. I think all the way through, he's fighting against an identity that has been laid out for him in a much more scientific and fantastical way, than mine. But I'm still beholden to some things. My father had late stage alcoholism and probably was suffering from alcoholism his entire life, but he never really succumbed to it until his very late years in life, his 50s, 60s, 70s. And it took his life, it took my dad's life 2 years ago. My best friend Pete, who died 3 weeks before my dad died, actually, he ended up taking his own life because of mental health issues that he couldn't navigate out of despite desperately trying. So, I look at those two men who are the two most important men in my life that I love more than anything. Both of them are gone because of things that I also struggled with, to the degree where, I had a failed suicide attempt. I had suicide ideation as part of my depression at point. And I'm glad I failed. In fact, I didn't fail because I got lucky. I failed because I didn't really want to die. It was a bit of a cry for help. Now, look, again, I realize these are all heavy topics, but I talk about these things because I know the gaming community. I know the nerd community. When I streamed, I talk openly about these things, and it helps a huge amount of people, especially when they go, oh my God, my favorite character in Record of Ragnarok. Oh my God, Jack the Ripper's talking about depression. I got that. And he's navigated out of it. Well, maybe I could do that. Or, hey, Ghost from Call of Duty had suicide ideation and navigated out of that, especially in the military community, in the veteran community. A lot of mental health issues that unfortunately a lot of them struggle with. So I know it's been helpful to be open about these things. Most actors don't do that because, you know, it ruins the sheen of Hollywood, baby. But for me, I think that the stories that audiences are most interested in engaging in these days, real fans of art. And I think gamers are some of the most artistically cultured people out there in the world. I think that the story that I will put onto Genesis is going to really resonate with a lot of people that, hey, you may think that you have to be beholden to this behavior, or you think you may be beholden to this hereditary trait, like my father and I. You may think you're beholden to a state of mind out of which there is no escape, depression, suicide ideation. But I'm here to tell you, and through this character Gil, that you can make your own choices. It's a struggle. It's going to be hard. There's going to be dark moments where you feel like giving up, but there's also light at the end of the tunnel if you stick on that path of evolution of the self. That's what this game is going to be about. And look, we're at such an early stage in it. You know, this is going to be at least a 2.5 year to 3 year development until release. But we're working on the trailer right now, so we can, we're developing all the assets so we can get a Kickstarter campaign out there, so we can, you know, find our audience base, we can build that community, and then over the next couple of years, share with them the stories. We're developing this. It's a minuscule studio, you know, Anti-Hero Productions and Way Studios who are making the game. We're small, very small. You know, there'll be probably a total 15 to 20 people will work on this game, including the voice actors. That's the bit I'm also really, really excited about. I don't know if you you know, because we got the listing up on IMDb. I'll pull it up just so I make sure I get everything. I get everything correct here in terms of the names that are involved, etc. But the cast that we've put together, we really thought about who is this audience. You know, we're making a game here for JRPG fans. We're making a game here for adventure and RPG fans. We're making a game for people who are fans of anime and manga. You know, we really want those people to be recognized and respected. So we'll be making the game in both English and Japanese to start with as well, in terms of voice. And as we get our Kickstarter goals, we'll have stretch goals with different languages all over the world, you know, to make sure we can localize. The cast we've got, some of these people have done unbelievably huge things, both in the video game space and the anime space. You know, people like Mara Juno, you know, Ryan Colt Levy. Ryan Colt Levy, you know, he's Denji in Chainsaw Man, you know, which is now blown up in a huge way, as well as a million other video games and anime. You know, you've got Mara is in Arcane. She's in Marvel Rivals, League of Legends, Mortal Kombat, you know, huge titles. Chris J. Alex, one of my buddies who I met through Call of Duty, you know, working on that together, and Katie Townsend, also in Arcane, also in Call of Duty. Sandra Sad, you know, who is Miss Marvel in Marvel Rivals game, etc. You know, Eric Bra, who's done a bunch of JRPG and also pixel art games as well. You know, Brawlhalla, you know, he's some from some of these classic titles. So we've really thought about putting together a cast that will get people excited straight off the rip when they get on board. And then, of course, in terms of our developers as well, we have people who are really, really successful in the space. You know, from our animator to our development team.
I don't know who did this poster, but it's fucking rad. Like the
thank you. Yeah, that's just. I mean, like, look, it's holding. It's hold art at the moment. That will probably be updated in the future.
It's
but
still just super sick. That's awesome.
Thank you. And we're going for like high end stuff with it. You know, like the pixel art. You know, you can have those different pixelated versions. We're going full scale. We want our game to be. You know, the battles will be isometric. We're going to have timed attacks like you found in other titles in the space, like Sea of Stars, for instance, or Iuden Chronicles. You know, or recently Expedition 33, unbelievably successful,
fantastic game,
incredible game.
And also, look, I feel akin to that game. Not just the fact that the battle mechanics will be reminiscent in our game as well, and we're going to have some other stuff that is different to theirs and new to theirs. But also, there's a small team working on a really beautiful video game, which was about art, man. It's art, which I think in a time we live in right now where AI is replacing what currently 60% or so of the video game industry has been laid off, and more to come. I think now more than ever, it's important for people like myself or other artists who are kind of purists in the way they create things to make something that is skewed that way. You know, so.
Well, and important too for
100%.
especially people listening to this to like champion this kind of shit.
I hope
Like,
so. I hope so. I hope it speaks to them. I hope they, and we'll do all the right things. We'll get the message out there. We'll make sure it's done. But if your core, I believe this about any business, whether it's my stand-up comedy material, whether it's my my acting as a character, you know, when I really try and inhabit characters, even as a voice actor, like I really want to learn about the people that I'm voice acting, even if I'm only going to be in that booth for an hour. How do I create the most real version of this? I do think that there's. I've completely lost my train of thought. Sorry, I apologize.
No, you're fine. We're talking about championing art and
yeah. Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I know. I had another point relating to that. I apologize. It's completely
all
gone
good.
now. I got
Listening,
so arty, guys. I completely lost my train of thought. That's what it was.
the tension was through the roof. No, I'm kidding. For everybody who's listening, though, definitely keep an eye out. It's On to Genesis, one word. And we'll definitely plug it if like whenever the Kickstarter comes out.
We froze a little there. I think he's frozen. There you go. You're back now. You're back now. I see you back now.
But yeah, I was just
look, that was AI trying to take us down, man. They're talking about art.
They're invading right now. They
no, Siri, please. Well, Jeff, while I've got you still, I know we're coming up somewhat on time. I just wanted to ask. So not only are you
You've
in
got
Death
another
Stranding,
8 minutes at least, brother. Just so you know, we got
we
got a bit of time.
Not only are you in Death Stranding 2, and not only were you a voice in Smite, both of which star someone named Darren Jacobs. I don't know if you know him or not.
I don't know.
So he plays Heartman in Death Stranding, but he is also a Hollyoaks alumnus.
Oh, and so am I.
Yeah. So I was going to ask,
who is this guy? We need to meet.
Yeah. His name's Darren Jacobs.
Darren Jacobs.
I can't remember what his last name is. I think it was like Welsh or something. He told us it was
Darren Jacobs. I see him. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
I love it. He's got an intense look, hasn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he does.
Very regal and intense. I like that.
Wonderful guy.
He wears glasses fantastically. He should be the poster boy for spectacle wearers across the world. Yes. Yeah. I'm into it.
Some good headshots with glasses. But no, I wanted
Rebel
to
Moon
ask,
2, Castlevania, Starfield. He's done some amazing projects. Halo, love that.
Yeah, he pops up everywhere.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys have been in a lot of the same stuff from time to time for sure.
There is a lot of, there is a lot of crossover. Like I've done like a multitude now of projects with. I just did. I don't know if you guys are Predator fans at all.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. You're in the animated film that just came out.
Yeah, the feature film on Hulu that just came out literally a couple of weeks ago. Still trending, a number one worldwide. Predator, Killer of Killers, with Dan Trachtenberg. Who, again, we want to talk about video game fans and nerds who creating great art. Dan Trachtenberg became, I don't know if you know this, a little tidbit for you. He blew up because he made a fanfic film of Portal, the video game Portal, on YouTube over a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago, and it became the most viewed short film on YouTube at the time. And that led to opportunities as a director, as a producer, as a script writer for his various projects.
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Cloverfield Lane. He's directed The Boys. Right. He's directed Stranger Things. He did Predator Prey. He's done Predator Killer of Killers. It's on IMDb, so I can mention it. Predator Badlands. He's directed as well. So he's done a trio for them now. That guy is a wonderfully versatile and wide-ranging artist. That's how I look at him. And that's how I've always viewed myself. I'm a Renaissance man. I've never, listen, I'm not the most famous guy in stand-up. I'm not the most famous guy in voice acting. I'm not the most famous guy in on-screen acting. I'm not the most famous guy in any world. And that's okay, because it's not about fame for me. It's about doing things that creatively stimulate me. And I'm interested in all these things. So why wouldn't I do all of them? And my entire career, people tell me, why don't you just pick one thing, bro? Just pick one thing, and then you'll be a big name in it. And I'm like, well, I don't care about being a big name. I care about getting to the end of my life and looking back on what I've created and people saying, wow, he really made some great art continuously for the rest of his life. And I want my career to do this all the way up until the day I die. So it's a nice slow build to a place where hopefully, Marlon Brando, I'll be sat there with, I'll die on my patio in the south of France somewhere, wearing my Pierre Southern outfit, of course, baguettes surrounding me. And that's if we don't all get blown up in the next few months. I'll be sitting there. And I love the idea of being able to look back at my creative life and say, cool, I made some great art with some incredible artists. I got to live as a Renaissance man. And I enjoyed living off the back of that art. You know, I've never had to get my sort of normal 9 to 5 since I left college, and I was already working in art, in the entertainment industry before I left there, you know, making tea at radio stations that led to some producing work at commercial radio station at the age of 18, 19, when I was still at college, you know, learning. So yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah. So
you've been in it.
Yeah, depends what you're chasing. If people who are listening want to get into this industry and they want to be famous, cool. Pick one thing, go hard at it, do everything you can, step on everyone's grave, and guess what? You'll get there and you'll blow up and you'll be rich and famous, but you might burn out very rapidly and you might not have enough strings to your bow. Or my personal advice is, if you are creative and passionate about multiple areas of creativity, try them all. Explore them all, because what I've learned as a scriptwriter has afforded me development as an actor. What I've learned as an actor has afforded me development as a producer. What I've learned as a producer has helped me in the voice booth. What I've learned in the voice booth, etc., etc. You get the concept. And it means that now I can enjoy a life where I get to headline some of the biggest comedy venues in the US as on the weekends, and then during the week I get to write scripts with my best friends, you know, Jenny Zagrino and Matt Kirsch, and for major studios. And then in the evenings, you know, I might be working on art concepts to send over to my animator for the video game I'm developing. While I'm living a life and talking openly and honestly about the ups and downs and the insanity of what I've lived, you know, including attempts on my own life, dying at a music festival, arrests, being beaten till I was almost dead, all sorts of stuff, like crazy stories. I get to then write a book about that. You know, I'm writing a book of memoirs as well. And that's fun. That's fun. I get to look back and go, wow, I did all these things. Cool. I gave this level. I look at life as a training ground, and also as a, I think we're being trained. I think this existence is to train you to learn, to evolve, to be of service to yourself, so you can be more of service to other people. I really truly believe that's what it is. It's a spiritual journey. Don't want to get too woo woo and deep, but you know, it is.
I'm with you.
And if you if you can get to the end of your playthrough, because it really is like a video game, man.
There you go.
And you go, great, look, I maxed out so many skill trees here. I look at it like Skyrim, man. All right, I haven't worked on my sneak, but we all know we can cheat that just by adding an elastic band to the controller and walking into a wall. But which we've all done, right?
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
Right, but if I can get to the end of my life and look at my entire skill list and go, yo, I maxed out a lot of my skills, and I branched out into more what would be the correct term, like more cross. I multi-classed my character in so many different ways. I feel good about that. I think that's fun.
No, for sure. Yeah, it's funny in a weird way, and I don't know if I've ever like consciously admitted this, but while you were speaking, I was thinking about it. I don't know if you've played like any of the Persona games or whatever, but like a little bit like that, or like a little bit like Earthbound or Mother or whatever. It's like these scenes, and it happens in anime all the time, where like a character is struggling, and then it cuts to all the people that they've interacted with in their lifetime, and they're all right. Pray for them, like that. That's kind of the like. I think for me, it's like at the end of my life, I would love to just know that there are people who give a shit enough to.
It's going to be a montage.
And their energy.
Yeah.
No, man, that's awesome.
Can't believe Alessio's gone, but thank God he helped me start that farm. You know, whatever it is. Yeah. I mean, dude, listen, there's one way to find that out, and I feel like everyone should do this, is I think when you get old and you feel like, all right, I'm getting towards the end of my life, I don't want to have a big celebration when I'm dead. I don't want to wait. I don't want all that. Yeah, I'll have there should be a little ceremony for the people who really cared about me. But honestly, the way that I perceive existence, you know, once I'm dead, you know, I rejoin the one energy of all things, you know, God, whatever you want to call it, and we're united again. So I don't think there will be any impact. However, I would love to have a celebration of life before I'm dead. You know what I mean? Like, get all the people you love most in a room. Let's share some stories. Let's have some memories together. So then when you pop your clogs a few years later, they go, oh, you know what? I got to actually like be a part of a celebration of this man already, you know, and he already knows he was loved and supported. So
I love that. That's awesome. I'm going to steal that idea. I'm going to be 30 years.
You're not stealing it. It's yours, bro. I don't own it. It's free. It's free. That's open source. There you go. That's open source content right there. That's a DLC that's free.
I love that. James, did you have any other questions as we're
I think we covered it. I did want to say that, like, I really appreciate you pouring so much of yourself into that story. I think like the mental health journey especially in today's world, is so important to be talking about. And so I think
Sure.
our listeners especially will really appreciate your perspective there.
And
too.
also a good fucking game. Don't get me wrong. We're not.
That's
you
right.
can't create an entire game based on my mental health struggles, because I think then you get a little sycophantic. It's a little, you're capitalizing on your mental health journey. I don't want that to be the case. I'm just pouring that into the character because I think it's important. Chosen identity rather than expected, projected, or inherited identity. Choose who you want to be and how you treat other people, and that's
huge. That's huge for everybody. It's like people with depression, trans people, gay people who've been kicked out of their homes because their parents are awful, whatever. Like, I think that's a huge message for a lot of people.
Correct. But also make sure your game is fun to play. It's challenging. It's exciting. The artwork is gorgeous. Like, do not overlook the importance of developing a wonderful video game that people will enjoy playing. But also, if you can put a personal message in there, I think your audience will just connect with the character on a much more deep level. That's the hope.
Yeah.
No, we'll see.
For sure.
We'll see, man. Come back to me in 3 years' time. We'll do another one of these.
We'll see.
Going for it.
We'll see what the Metacritic score is.
Yeah. We're like, well, it's a 62. Sorry.
Look, here you go. Look, I mentioned Predator Killer Killers on Hulu. Which people can watch. That's like trending. I think it was 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience loved it. It spoke to them because they gave the audience what they wanted, and they built it around 3 very personal stories of these 3 sort of major protagonists through time, who then have their, it leaves it nice and open at the end, of course, for potential sequels of that as well. And again, they didn't hold back on creating something unique with beautiful artwork, and it was done at a very high level. So it ticked all the boxes.
Absolutely. Jeff, it's been a pleasure. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, obviously, I've seen your stuff online and all that jazz, but I didn't know how the hell this was going to go. So thank you so much for diving in with us. And
thanks, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
And I'm sure we'll all keep an eye out for Pierre.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, please. Game. And hey, listen, do you mind me saying, if anyone is like, obviously, I want gamers to come and check out my content, come and hang out, maybe be interested in new games. So, just at Jeff Leach, JEFFLEACH on everything, if you can give me a follow. But also, if you're a stand-up fan as well, I do that. That's like what I do live 3 or 4 different careers all at once. In fact, probably 5 now, the acting, the voice acting, the stand-up, the script writing, and the producing. But I'm touring around a lot this year. I just got a new booker, and I'll be headlining all comedy clubs all over the country. So, if people... are around, since I know I've got gigs in West Covina, California. I'm headlining for the July 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th at the Laugh Factory. Then I'll be going out to the Funny Bone in Cincinnati on July 30th. Funny Bone, oh goodness, is it? Oh God, I've got to look it up. Sorry, I should have done this before. 31st, I will be at the Funny Bone. I'm at Cincinnati, Funny Bone on July 30th. Then I'm at the I should have done this before. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
So unprofessional. Columbus Funny Bone on the 31st of July as well. And then I'll be headlining in Las Vegas at the Comedy Cellar for a week in July, and then Brad Garrett's Comedy Club for a week in Vegas in August. So I'm out there. I'm around. So come and have a laugh with me as well.
Yeah.
Got a rep Comedy Cellar. I love that place, man.
Oh man, it's like, they brought me to America, so I will always have love in my heart, deep love in my heart for the Comedy Club and the Booker Esty and the owner Noam, because they really help bring me here and set me up with performances at the best comedy venue in the world, which I truly believe it to be.
Yeah, that intersection is so great because it's like Comedy Cellar, Blue Note, IFC, like all right there.
Yeah. Are you based in New York? Are you there?
I was in New York for about 7 years.
So that Greenwich Village, that spot is just that's the bustling spot. That's where it all is, and they got so many rooms now. They had the original room downstairs, then they opened Fat Black Pussycat, and downstairs they got the room downstairs. Then they turned the 2 upstairs bars into 2 more rooms. So that's now 1, 2,
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
3, 4 rooms, and now they got another venue on that street opening up.
That's awesome.
Which will have another 2 rooms in it. So they're going to have 6 rooms.
Oh my
And that doesn't include the comedy venue in Vegas as well. So
yeah.
Yeah,
For anybody
they do-
listening, to have that much real estate in New York is amazing. Like,
wild,
holy
wild.
shit.
Well, I'm not sure if they own all the spaces.
Yeah,
I'm sure
I know. But to like,
But yeah, to rent
have a
that stuff out
presence.
and to pack every room, every single show,
Yeah,
every night of the
yeah,
week
it's
is
impressive.
wild. It's wild, you know.
Yeah.
So
Well, all right, man. I know you've got a busy schedule. You got another show coming
dude,
up.
yeah.
So,
We
thank you
pushed
so
you to the
much.
wire, but I appreciate you guys. That was me monologuing at you. So
Pleasure.
sorry.
No, this was fantastic. That's what we were looking for, Jeff. This was awesome.
Thank you, dude. And let me know what you think of the game as well. Please reach out.
sure.
Let me know what you think of Pierre. I hope you enjoy him, and hopefully he makes you chuckle a few of the lines.
Mr. Buck.